Cortana, I've received the ancient logs of Xbox, but how are we supposed to use this to defeat the Covenant?
Can't seem to get a read on that. It seems to hold a discussion about some ancient history. I see no ports to scan this device. It looks like you're gonna have to open it to see what it says. Without this information, the Covenant will win, Chief.
That's not gonna happen.
What makes you say that?
Because I am John Xbox. If you couldn't tell, we're doing our episode on Halo. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Fetch Quest podcast. I'm your host, Liam, and I'm joined by my fellow co-host, Guy.
Why?
And today we are going to be talking about the original Halo, all the way back in 2001. If you want to feel old, that was 25 years ago.
That is insane to me, and one thing to get out of the way, this game holds up incredibly well. Holy crap. I did not expect this game to release in 2001, and yet here we are. But yeah, no, we are going back to the original today. The one that started it all. Not only for the Halo franchise, but honestly, Microsoft has like a really big studio in the gaming industry for sure.
Yeah, Halo was a big hit. Came out before either of us were born, which is crazy to say. I played this game back in like 2000 something, 2009 maybe. I was not very old. No, not 2009. 2000 like a 10 or 11 on the original Xbox, but like way later in life than the actual game. Like Halo 2 and 3 had already come out at this point.
Well, yeah, because you weren't born until 2004.
I wasn't born until Halo 2.
Dude, we're as old as Halo 2. How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel pretty old, honestly, because this franchise has kind of had like a very interesting history that we won't get too much into because we really want to focus on Combat Evolved, but like I think a lot of people will agree that the game kind of like each game kind of got better than the last, and then they just kind of plummeted.
Yeah, I feel like that's something for like a later episode though.
Primarily, yeah, because we're gonna talk more about Halo, but this is like very specifically for Combat Evolved, not to be confused with the newly releasing Campaign Evolved,
which looks really cool from what we've seen so far. Like a full-blown remake of this game is, yeah.
One more caveat, we are specifically talking about the campaign, not the multiplayer.
Yes, I've never played the multiplayer at all, so that's awesome.
I have, but like that's not what the focus is, because Halo, despite being a multiplayer game, has an amazing campaign. With a really
awesome campaign, dude. It's so good.
It's actually like a really intriguing story for like an earlier time. Like, you know, it's simple, but it gets the message across, and it does certain things very well.
True. But to get that out of the way, I think for the audience members who have never played Halo before, we need to give them a synopsis of what it's all about.
All right. You are John Xbox, or known to everybody that's not stupid, Master Chief. And he is one of like the biggest icons in all of gaming, I'd say. I don't think that's a hot take to say.
That's not a hot take at all, dude. Like when he got added into Fortnite, the internet broke. Like it is so fair to say.
It's like Nintendo has Mario, and that will always be like the gaming's biggest mascot. But like Mario for Nintendo is basically what Master Chief is for Xbox. Like they're nowhere near the same level of like icon, but you can go up to random people who don't play video games and they might know Master Chief.
Yeah, he is like to that level. He is one of the most iconic characters in all of video games. Like that is just true.
Yes. But the world of Halo is, you know, you're in space. You are part of the Marines, and you are trying to stop an alien race known as the Covenant from wiping out all of humanity. And the very start of the game has you on a ship that is getting chased by the Covenant because they are after Cortana, which is your AI companion. And she has like almost all the information. They gave all of their pivotal critical information to one AI because she is just like extremely smart, extremely good at what she does, like that kind of stuff.
True. She's the good AI because she isn't generated and she's a baddie.
True.
But yeah, no, the Covenant. Yeah, the Covenant is basically after Cortana. So you have to go on a mission to escape the ship that you're on that's being attacked by the Covenant. Turns out you crash land on something called the Halo, which is a giant ring in space. It looks like a giant machine. We don't know initially what it's for whatsoever. So, the main mission of Master Chief is that he has to try and save the Marines, stop the Covenant from interfering with the Halo, and finding out a few secrets about the Halo and the origins of the universe as well to win the war, and hopefully get back home safe.
Yes, because the Marines or the UNSC are very badly losing the war against the Covenant. And the Covenant view this Halo as like a religious relic. And so like they're not happy that you crash landed on Halo. So the gameplay there's only 10 missions. It took a guy and I about
like 5 hours to beat? 6?
5-6 hours. Not very long.
It is not long at all. No. Each level lasted like 30 minutes. They were not.
It was
long.
It was about like 7 hours, actually.
Oh, that's not too 6 or 7 hours.
But yes, the story is very like starts off very simple, and it's just really well like. I think it's a good example of like show don't tell, because you like see the infrastructure of Halo and like it evolves as you go through the levels, because the level design of this game is also, I think it's like the biggest strong suit.
Yeah, honestly, when I was playing through this game, one thing that really pointed out to me is just like something that I still think about it when I'm thinking about the game. It's just the levels. Not only do I think the levels are just really well designed, they're linear for the most part. There's not like much to explore. There aren't really any collectibles to get, but there's just a basic idea of if there are enemies, then you go in this direction. Not only that, but every single level is visually distinct. And one thing in particular I'm very happy about with the version of Combat Evolved that we played with is that you could press a button to switch the graphics between the original 2001 version and the Anniversary Edition, letting you basically go flip-flop onto what art style you'd prefer. But honestly, like, I really liked going in between both, like, at certain points during missions, just to see what was different and how strikingly, like, detailed it was. It honestly is something, like, that is something I do have a complaint about the game. I do think it is like a little repetitive in terms of level design, especially in the second half. But the thing is that I can remember those levels, and it's become such a like kind of a flaw / grievance for me, just because I can remember the levels so well.
That is honestly like a really good point. I like that, because it didn't, like, I will be honest, it didn't show its age in terms of like gameplay or that, but like you could tell that they had a limited amount of like space budget, like, so they probably couldn't do all that they wanted to do just because like they didn't have the space to.
Yeah, honestly. I mean, we were joking about this. This is super niche if you don't get the joke, but it is basically the Devil May Cry 4 of the first-person shooters, in our opinion, which is funny.
Yes, where it's or like a Smash Brothers Melee, where they did not have, like, maybe they didn't have all the resources that they wanted, but like what they did do in 2001 is genuinely like astonishing.
Yeah, no, let's talk about that,
especially one specific level that I genuinely think is like a perfect level.
Is it the introduction of the new enemy type that you were thinking of?
Yes, that level. That it's so good. Yes,
I think we'll talk about that later in the spoiler section.
Yes.
But we are hyping this up because I do genuinely think this game holds up really well, and that kind of transitions us into a little bit of the gameplay that we want to talk about. It's a first-person shooter. Obviously this is a very saturated market, so for a game, especially this old, you have to do something really unique to keep me invested. And one thing that really kept me invested is just the guns played very differently compared to one another. You actually were incentivized to pick up enemy weapons, enemy technology, enemy vehicles, etc. That in combination with, all things considered, these levels being pretty open in terms of exploration and where you can go to fight enemies, created a situation where I was constantly switching in between weapons, trying out trying new loadouts, trying new strategies, that honestly just rewarded me for just continuously picking up new weapons and trying new things. And here's the thing, all the weapons are really fun. Like, I don't think there's particularly a bad weapon in the game, so I was happy to pick up new ones. It was so much fun. I have my favorites, of course, but that doesn't mean I wasn't unhappy to see a weapon. Yeah.
And I think it's also cool because I have a feeling you and I have like completely different favorite weapons. We're like, my favorite weapon in the game is the starting pistol.
That's honestly a fun one. For context, the starting pistol, though it isn't crazy in terms of damage, what's really cool about that weapon is that it's actually one of the few, semi-automatic weapons in the game, so you have to press the trigger each time for the weapon to fire. And also, if it is one of the only weapons in the game that actually has an ADS when you hold the trigger down. That's a unique thing about Halo. You don't actually use the scopes all too often. You're often using what's the term when you're not ADSing to fire?
Hip firing?
Yeah, hip firing. You're hip firing for the most part. And the thing is, you'd think this would be something that would get very annoying very quickly, but no, the guns are completely accurate, and it's honestly, it kind of adds to it because I'm constantly having to be aware of what enemies are around me and just spatially aware, because they will throw a lot of enemies at you, so this isn't something that I minded all too much.
Yeah, I think what's cool about this game is they kind of just don't have like a lot of, first-person shooter staples. There's no sprinting. There's barely any ADS. I think there's like 3 weapons that can ADS.
Sniper, rocket launcher, and the starting pistol. I think that's it.
Yeah, there's 3 weapons that you can start with, and then that can ADS. There's like you really just get to move around, shoot, jump, and like throw grenades and melee. But it's very simple because they do throw a lot at you, and there is like a good amount you can do in the game. One of my favorites, the different enemy types, the Covenant. Their like smallest things are called grunts, and they're really funny because like with the starting pistol, you can just one-shot them to the head, but you can also, if you melee them in the back, there's a backstab mechanic where you do more damage if you hit them in the back, and you can one-shot them that way. So, like, one of my favorite things to do was to just go run around and melee these guys instead of, like, shooting bullets. Because, I'll be honest, the, like, ammo could, like, get pretty scarce sometimes.
No, you had to be accurate with your shots. Like, we were playing on normal difficulty, too, and, like, I was running low and stuff, like, pretty frequently, especially for, like, the very rare weapons. And honestly, like, meleeing all the enemies is just a viable strategy. Not so much when you're near your co-op partner, but it's still viable.
Yeah, it's really funny because there is also friendly fire, so there was a good amount of team killing out of just pure accident, and maybe 1 or 2 on purpose, I'll be honest. But like the game, I feel that it revels in simplicity, where like because it's so simple, it feels so fun to just like shoot Covenant in the head.
Yeah, no, honestly.
Like they don't have all of this like crazy stuff, which they will like get more of in later games, which Guy will see later, because I think, like, a bit of context, I'm a big Halo fan. I have played Halo 1, 2, 3, 4, Reach, and ODST, in like Halo 5. I've played every Halo. The only Halo I haven't finished is Halo Infinite because I did not enjoy the campaign.
It sucks.
Which does suck. Like, I don't like the Halo 5 campaign much either, but
But
like I enjoy the multiplayer. But like I grew up with Halo. Like that's like the context. So this was Guy's first time playing Combat Evolved, but not mine. So he played it with the perspective of a 21-year-old in a 2026 gaming market, which I think makes any praise that the game gets like a little cooler in my eyes, because like the game is old. It's old and there's been a lot of innovation in gaming, but like it's a classic for a reason.
Liam,
Yes.
I'm 22.
Oh, you're 22.
Even better.
I forgot.
It's okay.
Yep.
No. I like that I went into this like with a much older perspective, because I don't have nostalgia like weighing down on me for like potentially giving me bias. So I went into this like really fresh, and like I'm really impressed. Like, I don't typically like to play a lot of first-person games, especially older ones, just because I feel like they can be really saturated and honestly, like, really dated. Like, GoldenEye 007, for example, that game is still fun, like, it's still really cool, but there are just some, like, modern-day aspects that have been added into first-person shooters that makes me a little, about it sometimes. I think, honestly, games like Doom and Doom Eternal has just kind of spoiled me on what a first-person shooter could be like, and, like, some of the movement of, like, recent Call of Duties also has kind of done that to me, so that's personally a me thing, but for me to say that, like, Halo, honestly ages pretty well is like really surprising. I really like the gunplay of all things. That is something that holds up very well. Holds up very well. I loved every single weapon. I don't think there was a single bad weapon, as I stated earlier. But that kind of leads me into a question I have for you, Liam. What are your favorite weapons in Halo?
Well, if we're talking about just Halo 1, because my favorite weapons is like I'll be honest, I'm an energy sword, like I'm a basic bitch. I love the energy sword, but that's like Halo 2 and beyond. But like for Halo 1, my favorite weapon was like just the starting pistol. It just feels really nice to use. I like the single shots. I like that you can one-shot grunts with a headshot, and it just felt really good to use. But then I was also like a really big fan of the sniper rifle, because it was really fun to use. It's a sniper rifle. A sniper rifle is always going to be fun. And then
snipers are amazing.
And then my last one, I realized I was a much bigger fan of the human weapons than the Covenant weapons, because my third favorite was the shotgun. It was so fun to just run up in someone's face and just blast them, because that shotgun feels great to use.
It's kind of brain dead, I'll be honest, but that kind of makes it a beautiful weapon. That is like my second favorite weapon. It's beautiful.
It's brain dead in the best way possible, but like you also have to put yourself in danger to get like good use out of it.
Exactly.
And that's awesome, especially when you're going up against waves of enemies. Like the shotgun can get a little scary.
No, it's a fun weapon, it really is, and it's something that can just, like you said, help so much with waves of enemies. For me, I would say the shotgun would be number 2, but the number 1 for me is definitely the rocket launcher, just because of how stupid it is. I love it. Like, there are many moments in our duo campaign that we did where I would just pick up a rocket just cause, even if I didn't have any ammo for it, I held in the back of my head, there's ammo for this somewhere, and when I was rewarded, I was the happiest man alive, because it one-shots most things in the game, it's very effective against enemy vehicles, which are actually very prevalent throughout the game, surprisingly, and just allows you to basically just get rid of the tougher enemies really quickly. Very effective. It basically rewards you for long-term usage in terms of getting rid of the big stuff very quickly. I'm a big fan of it. It's also really funny when I do 360s on enemies just cause, and I miss, and it's amazing.
Yeah, it's a very funny weapon.
It is funny. Oh man, I will say though, I would have liked the sniper more. This isn't specifically a weapon problem. This is a flaw I had with the game. This is like an overall thing. So the way that we played co-op, we did not do it local. We did it via internet, via Wi-Fi. And the problem with that is it scans, from my understanding, it looks at my internet and Liam's internet at the same time to determine my connection. Meanwhile, he just has to run the game, which is really funny because there would be many scenarios where I would have input lag for a first-person shooter, which doesn't feel good. Imagine that with like a sniper rifle, not very awesome. I eventually fixed it over time, of course. It got better, but I had to like make like a couple fixes, and even then, I still had like a couple frames of input lag. I could tell. It wasn't the worst. It isn't something that hindered my experience overall, but like with some platforming, especially in the final level, it really was noticeable. That is just something I had to bring up.
That's fair. That might be like a PC port issue. I didn't know exactly what was going on because I was having no issue, but I was also hosting, so that might have also been like something. But that is something that we do need to talk about. Where like the performance of online co-op was not the best.
Yeah,
Which,
there was it was weird. Like some of it was because the game is just dated. I can understand, but some of it was just like funky. Like that was most of the funk that we just that I just talked about. But one thing in particular I thought was a little weird. I don't know if this happened in for local co-op, but when one player would go in front of one the other and they'd get to a checkpoint or a loading zone, instead of naturally both players just follow, the player that was left behind would immediately be teleported to the other player.
I think that's just like an old thing. I think that's just it being an older game. They needed everybody to be in like specific parts because I think as soon as like the checkpoint would start, they would completely deload the last area.
Yeah, which like fair enough, like saving on resources, and honestly, like in like thinking about it now, with how big some of these levels are, that's completely fair.
Yes, because this game, because it is old, does have some problems like that, and also because it's been ported it was ported from Xbox to PC and then also put into a collection of ports, and so it's interesting, and like Guy has had more problems with that than I did because I was hosting, but that is like a genuine like problem.
Yeah. I imagine that'll be fixed in the upcoming Campaign Evolved remake. Hopefully,
100%.
Yeah, because like these issues that we're bringing up are they're very port specific. It is a 2001 game, and the version of the game we were playing was not a remake, it was a remaster. It was still the same build of the game. So, of course, we're still going to run into these issues. So, I don't think, again, this wasn't like an overall hindrance of the game for me, like, oh, I hated it because of it. But it's just something that does need to be brought up, especially if you want to play with someone online. It is a little bit annoying because the game was not meant for online co-op. It was meant for local co-op. That is something that they changed for this. I know that.
Yes, the game back in the day, local co-op was the norm, and online co-op might have been like a bonus, but now it's the exact opposite somehow.
Thank you, Discord, for allowing this to happen.
Yeah,
Literally, that's like off topic. Discord has like kind of killed local co-op, or the incentive for local co-op. So it is just something that like we were living in a post like internet world, and that's just how it is. And this game was made in a very different era.
I mean, the Campaign Evolved has 4-player online co-op, but only 2-player local co-op. So like, local co-op is put into the game, but it's actually not the main focus.
Yeah, like that is, again, it's just like a difference of era of like when these games were made. It's just how it is with a game like this. But going back into like the gameplay, this game has a very heavy focus of combat. There was never like really any downtime where there weren't a lot of enemies. Like, yeah, there were like moments where like we had to like travel to a certain location so there weren't as many enemies, but I remember there just being hundreds upon hundreds of enemies per level, honestly, and I was okay with it because I just enjoyed the combat so much.
Yeah, there was there were a lot of repetitive ways, and for the other enemy type, it makes sense that there are ways upon ways of them, because that's kind of like their whole thing and like the namesake, which I think we can talk about them now.
I think we can talk about them.
Okay, and about like the halfway point, you go to like this forest area, kind of like Endor. Think Endor from Star Wars. And you go into this like base, and you see all the like these Marines that have been like mauled and like taken apart, and there's this one Marine that's like so paranoid that he's like trying to shoot you even though you're on his side. And you go and you realize that the Marines somehow released a like biological parasite called the Flood, which will latch onto the host and like take them over. And you have
scary.
to like fight genuine swarms of them. Like the mini map had 50 to 60 dots on them because there were so many like after you. And it's one of the coolest things ever because it's like genuinely a bit terrifying.
No, honestly, when I was going through this level with you, like, in the back of my head, I was like, this is, like, low-key terrifying. Like, this is very unsettling in terms of the concept, because it kind of comes out of nowhere. You don't know what the halo is used for whatsoever, and then it all hits you at once. And then once you realize, oh my god, this isn't, like, a religious symbol. This is something to contain this, the Flood. And you're not only that, but I think the reveal of it is so effective because you're in a very confined space. You are in but basically like a labyrinth underground, where the Flood are, and so you just have to, in your best efforts, just escape them, just get out. And there are hordes of them, and they are fast and they are tanky. It is scary.
It is genuine. It's the best level of the game because like the adrenaline is coursing through you as you are fighting off wave after wave, just trying to escape. You're not trying to like. There's no goal other than live.
Literally, it's dude. I love that level too because like it's kind of like a hint of arrogance too. They originally were trying to go into this labyrinth because they were thinking it was a weapon cache. No, anything but that.
Yeah, it was, but it's about like the halfway point, and that level is great, and then it's followed by what I think is the worst level of the game, which is the library.
Oh yeah, I agree.
And like I want to talk about that because like I think 9 out of 10 levels are really good, but I think the library is genuinely just not very fun. Because it's extremely repetitive. There's not a lot of like change in scenery or enemy type. It's kind of just follow 343 Guilty Spark, which is like a little floating cube guy that's like, hey, you're gonna help me to stop the Flood because we need this key to unlock something to stop the Flood. And it's just a really boring level, and I think it's definitely the low point of the game because it takes so long.
What also makes it feel so long is just there's, like you said, there's no change in scenery, so it's just so repetitive.
Yeah, it's not very good I hope that the remake does something.
I hope so too, because, dude, it's really funny how they follow up, like, a really good reveal, into the library, where you're just fighting nothing but the Flood, same weapons, same scenery, just go into hallway, fight, go into other hallway, fight, and it's just, there aren't any puzzles or anything too, it's so stupid.
Yeah, it's not the best, but I think what follows are some very fun levels as you're like basically trying to escape Halo, and then the final level. We were really stupid, but the final level has such a fun final part.
Oh, it does. Oh, and we were all, dude. We were immersed. We were John Xbox right
No,
there.
dude. I remember going, go, 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 shoot him down. Like I was like actively screaming because I wanted you, I needed us to go.
No, dude. Oh, and it's such a cool section too. Oh my god. Dude, we love the trope of in campaigns. Oh, the final countdown. You have to escape X building in a certain amount of time in a vehicle. We love it.
I think you and I made the same joke of, hey, it's Resident Evil 4.
It is Resident Evil 4. It's awesome. Oh god. But no, I honestly I would not be surprised if Halo took some inspiration from some Resident Evil at that point, because Resident Evil had been established at this point. If they took some inspiration from Resident Evil games in that final sequence, that would be so funny.
That would
true.
be really, really funny. I think only like RE1 and RE2 had come out. Maybe RE3.
RE3 should have at that point. I'm pretty sure. I'll look it up. Why not?
Yeah.
3 release date. Wow, doing this mid
Because I knew RE4 came out in 2004.
Yeah. 1999.
Okay, yeah, it was out by then.
Yeah, so they probably took some influence.
But the campaign has a lot of highs, but one very low, I will say. Like I was not a fan. The library was just not great.
It wasn't the best. Hey, look, at least the last few levels, they do pick it up for me, in my opinion. I do like them a lot, so I'm okay with this.
Yeah, I think
yeah.
it was a product of its time of like not enough location variants, not enough enemy variants, and it just kind of like you can feel it, especially in 2026. Like playing that back, I'm like, dang, this is kind of bad.
Dude, it's really crazy too, because like Halo Combat Evolved, one thing that I think that has aged really well with it, I just think like there's decent enemy variety for like how short this campaign is. Like I was actually really impressed by that.
Yes, there is a like each there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different types of Covenant, 4 different types of Flood, and then the Sentinels. But they're like variants of each type of like different different levels of like
Weapons and whatnot.
expertise, weapons, health, that kind of stuff. So it's also really well designed. If you aren't colorblind like me, they're all color coded really, so it's really easy to tell which is which. I think that like the old graphics do a really good job of making the enemies pop against the background, which like modern games have a tendency to not do very well. Is like they have such a focus on realism that they don't make things pop and especially in a shooter, you want to be able to see what you're shooting at.
No, that is true. That is true, because I love how colorful this game was. Like, it used the sci-fi setting so effectively. Of just the Covenant are really well designed. I like all the colors used for them. Like, obviously, the main color for the Covenant is purple as like its primary. But like you said, each rank of the enemies have different color coding, and it contrasts with the background really well. There's only like one section of the game. Funny enough, I think it's the second to last level in the game where we actually had an issue with very low contrast enemies, and it unironically is the Flood. Just because it's very gray.
That is true because we were in like a cave.
Yeah, the lighting was very dim.
The lighting was dim. That was because Guy was switching between the two versions of like the new version and the old version, but I was trying to stick with the old version just because I was trying to get like that authentic 2001 experience. But I had to switch to the Halo, like the remake, the remastered version, because I just couldn't do it.
It was hard to tell, man. Like even with the anniversary edition remaster, it was kind of hard to tell. And that is just one jab I do have to give to the game. Like the Flood, I do love the implementation of the Flood, but that is just one thing with them is their designs are not that unique, at least for the humanoids in terms of each other. Like obviously I can tell one has a shotgun, one has a Covenant weapon, yada yada. But it's just like the designs are not very like fluid, at least from like a long distance in terms of understanding what they are. Um, if you get what I mean, because like we made that the point that the Covenant, not only do they have high contrast, but you can tell what weapon, what thing they're doing just based off like their design from far away using color grading. The Flood doesn't really do that, unfortunately.
Yeah, and like it makes sense because it's like a collective hive mind, but at the same time it really, that one level really just is like, ooh, it's hard to see. But I think like most, we've talked about like most of the points I wanted to cover because it is a short game. Like we can talk about how like fantastic the music is, because the music is like genuinely amazing. Like
Oh no, yeah.
like the funny thing about the music is that I felt like it would come in at random parts and then disappear just as quickly, but like the music itself is really good.
No, Liam can attest to this. The entire time when we did our co-op playthrough, the music was turned on, and I would say, "Oh my god!" Like I was so impressed. They have
Yeah.
they blend genres too. Like there's a lot of like I want to say like there's a lot of like oral like drum beating for some. There's like a lot of guitar riffs in some. There's some that's very like low synthwave stuff. They do fusions of it too as well with other genres. There's such a diversity in terms of Halo soundtrack, and they went so hard on it, and it makes the immersion factor just that much better, especially for like some of the later levels. Oh my lord.
Yeah, it's just like it's a fantastic game from 2001 that like had very little problems, but like it definitely does have problems. But I had a great time playing it, especially playing it with a buddy. I um I don't think I've played this game solo, but like playing it with a friend is so fun. It's so enjoyable to just like go through this game with a buddy.
Yeah,
Like,
no, I agree, man. Like, thank you for doing this with me because, like, obviously you are very nostalgic towards this, and I am obviously new to this. So thank you for like putting me into this because, like, dude, I'm a fan of Halo now, and I'm so glad I get to say that because I had incentive to do that because I played it with someone else, and honestly, it just made the experience better because it just created moments that you wouldn't have if you were playing in single player, like us killing each other with rockets and melees.
yep. And what's also really awesome is that we've just started and we're going to get two games that are better than this one.
And I cannot wait. I've heard the plot gets so much better in 2 and 3. Not saying that the plot in the first one's bad. It's pretty good, all things considered. But I hear it ramps up, and I cannot wait.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
It's gonna be sick. I can't wait. But yeah, with that being said, we've been the Fetch Quest Podcast. If you like this kind of content, please hit that like and subscribe button and comment down below what some of your favorite memories are with Halo 1 or the Halo series. But with that being said, guys, we've been Fetch Quest, and this has been our episode on Halo Combat Evolved. We'll catch you later. See ya!
Bye-bye.
Well, Chief, do you think this will be enough to win the war?
No. I think we're just getting started.